under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And we will hold the roll call for a second. What we'll do first is swear in our newest police officer. So if Mr. Warren, if you could join me right up here. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Robert Warren,
I, Robert Warren,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Arkansas,
the Constitution of the State of Arkansas,
and the Code of Ordinances of the City of Bella Vista,
and the Code of Ordinances in the State of Arkansas,
Bella Vista,
Bella Vista,
and that I will faithfully and impartially
that I will faithfully and impartially
perform the duties of police officer
perform the duties of police officer
for the City of Bella Vista Police Department
for the City of Bella Vista Police Department
in Benton County, Arkansas,
in Benton County, Arkansas,
upon which I am now about to enter,
upon of which I am about to enter,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations. You're now with us. Now we'll have roll call.
Alderman Morgan. Here. Alderman Snow.
Here.
Alderman Wozniak.
here.
Alderman Rooney.
Here.
Alderman King.
Here.
Alderman Wilson is absent and excused. We have a quorum.
This is from the front table.
Yes.
I see no one has put their name down that wanted to talk to the city council this evening, but in case anybody did want to talk to them and didn't or wasn't aware they needed to sign, is there anybody who would like to speak to the city council this evening? Seeing none, we'll move right on. Next item of business is the approval of minutes from the May 27th regular council meeting last month. You all had those in your packet? Comments, questions, discussion concerning the minutes from May 27 meeting?
Move to be approved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. We approve the minutes as presented. All in favor, raise your right hand. Unanimous. Monthly financial reports. You all had that in your packet. Well, maybe not in the packet, but you did receive it sometime earlier early last week. Comments, questions, discussion concerning the monthly financials for the month of May.
Move to be approved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. The monthly financials for May be approved as presented. One last chance for comments, questions. Everyone in favor of approving the financials as presented, raise your right hand. Unanimous. Emergency Management Committee, anything to report?
No, we have not met. We will meet next Wednesday at 9 o'clock at the Fire Department Training Room.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Rooney? Elected Officials Salary Study Committee. Jerry, any comments, anything about that we need to talk about or mention?
At the last work session, there was a considerable amount of discussion and a number of concerns about the ordinance and the manner in which some of the items were written. So I think at this meeting, I'm probably going to make a motion that we just scrap it, that we table it indefinitely and deal with it at a later time.
What kind of later time?
Well, let's wait till we get to that if that's what we're going to do. Any other comments, questions, discussion just from the committee report? It still is on the agenda, so we'll take it up when we get to the agenda and get into more detail about it, I'm sure.
Well, it was my intention to ask them to table to the next work session so that the mayor would be present and the city attorney for advice, and we could discuss it at that time. That was my thought.
Works for me.
Let's wait till we get it to the agenda then. Any comments, questions concerning the Revenue Study Committee? Jerry again.
Revenue Study Committee is working right now on trying to identify, I think, locate some additional support and members to help market, help promote the lost my train of thought there on the millage. I couldn't find the millage word, the millage increase. Hopefully we'll have a meeting sometime shortly, maybe the next week.
Okay. Any questions, any other comments from anybody? One item that's not in there in this particular part, but I'm going to take the opportunity to read it now. It is down under meetings and announcement. It's a proclamation. And I will only read parts of the proclamation just to get it in the record. And it has to do with the Amateur Radio Week proclamation. Whereas amateur radio operators are celebrating over a century of the miracle of the human voice broadcast over the airwaves, and whereas amateur radio has continued to provide a bridge between people, societies, and countries by creating friendships and the sharing of ideas, and whereas these amateur radio services are provided wholly uncompensated, and whereas the city surrounding areas of Bella Vista, Arkansas recognizes and appreciates the diligence of these hams who also serve as weather spotters in the Skywarn program of the U.S. Government Weather Bureau, and whereas amateur radio once again proved its undisputed relevance in the modern world in 2005 by providing emergency communications when other systems failed in the devastation of Hurricanes Katrina and Rita in the USA, and in the tsunami catastrophe overseas, and more recently in the devastating tornado in Joplin, Missouri. Whereas the AARL Amateur Radio Field Day exercise will take place on June 28th, 29th, 2014, and is a 24-hour emergency preparedness exercise and demonstration of the radio amateur skills and readiness to provide self-supporting communications without further infrastructure being required. Now therefore, I, Frank Anderson, Mayor of the City of Bella Vista, do hereby officially recognize and designate June 28 and 29, 2014 as Amateur Radio Week in the City of Bella Vista, Arkansas. I will also mention at this time that, as I mentioned in the whereases, there will be an exercise going on this coming Saturday and Sunday. All of the aldermen should have received an invitation in your boxes about a week or 10 days ago that I put in there. They will operate from 1 p.m. to dark on June 28th, and they will operate from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. on June 29th in the Metfield Park, which is over off of Commonwealth. So they would more than welcome anybody that wants to come and visit and see how they operate in times of disaster and provide a very worthwhile service. Moving on in the agenda, I will entertain a motion to suspend the rules and read all proposed ordinances and resolutions by title only this evening.
So moved.
Been moved and seconded, we read ordinances and resolutions on this evening's agenda by title only. Any further discussion of that motion? Roll call vote on the motion to read ordinances and resolutions by title only.
Alderman Morgan?
Yes.
Alderman Stoll?
Yes.
Alderman Wozniak?
Yes.
Alderman Rooney?
Yes.
Alderman King?
Yes.
Alderman Wilson is absent and excused. We have motion carries unanimous 5-0.
Okay, the first item under 7, unfinished business, is an ordinance, and I'll read it by title only. amending ordinance 2007-01 as amended by ordinance 2011-01 to provide for the inclusion of an invocational prayer at the beginning of regular meetings of the city council. This is the second reading of this particular ordinance.
I make a motion, we suspend the rules and go to the third reading.
Second.
Been moved and seconded, we suspend the rules and include the second and third reading this evening. Any further discussion of that motion? This is the motion to suspend the rules, not to vote on the ordinance. Roll call vote to suspend the rules this evening and go to the second and third reading for this ordinance on invocational prayers.
Alderman Snow?
Yes.
Alderman Wozniak?
Yes.
Alderman Rooney?
Yes.
Alderman King?
Yes.
Alderman Wilson? Absent. Alderman Morgan?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Call wherever I've got.
Further discussion?
Mayor, you need to read the title for a third time.
Reading the title for the third time. Amending ordinance 2007-01 as amended by ordinance 2011-01 to provide for the inclusion of an invocational prayer at the beginning of regular meetings of the city council. Third reading.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. We approve the ordinance as presented. Further discussion on the ordinance itself. Roll call vote on approval of the ordinance.
Alderman Wozniak?
Yes.
Alderman Rooney?
Yes.
Alderman King?
Yes.
Alderman Morgan?
Yes.
Alderman Snow?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Under new business, item A was an ordinance that had considerable discussion, I understand, at the work session. After I got back today and talked with the staff about it, we, the administration section, decided we're going to pull that ordinance at this time. There were more items that needed fixing, and because of the short week last week with several of you attending the training session down with the Municipal League, we did not have time to get those adopted, or get those changed. So that ordinance has been pulled from the agenda. So moving on to the resolution under item B, a new business. I'll read the title of that resolution by title only. Establishing salaries and benefits for elected officials of the city of Bella Vista, Arkansas, beginning January 1st, 2015. I was not able to attend the meeting because I was having a lot more fun watching baseball last Monday night. So I was not privy to all the discussion that took place concerning salaries and benefits for elected officials. I'm sorry that I wasn't there. I would like to make just a couple of comments before we get around to making some of those potential recommendations that were discussed earlier. I do believe we owe it to the people who are going to possibly run for office to have something in place before they have to sign up, something that they can hang their hat on a little bit to get some idea of what they're getting themselves into. I also have a little difficulty with providing elected officials something different than we provide our employees, whether it's better or it's worse than what we provide employees, but especially if it's better than what we provide employees. So having said that, I don't know what that does to your thought process concerning this particular resolution, but I do believe we need to establish salaries this evening, and I do believe we need to establish whatever those benefits will be so that the people can have something to hang their hat on, because it's less than a month away, I believe, that they can begin signing up to run for office. Having said that, it's now open to discussion.
Well, is it possible that we approve the salaries and table the remaining part of it until we can discuss it again at a work session? Because at the work session we discussed it at, the city attorney wasn't there for legal advice, nor the mayor, and I think this needs some more discussion.
Mayor,
I guess I would have some difficulty, why couldn't it be discussed this evening? If you're talking about the mayor and the lawyer, we're both here,
Okay?
believe it or not.
To answer your
What I'm
legal,
referring to is the 457 plan for one. I would like to remove that from there for part-time employees, city council people.
okay, so what, just procedurally, let me kind of set the stage so we know what we need to do. So, first of all, you asked, is it possible to consider the salaries and table the rest? Not really. The way to accomplish that would be to move to amend the resolution to strike everything after Section 1. That way, you would only be adopting the salaries, and you can always reapproach the other issues later. So that would be how you would do that. Number two, if you want to take out anything else in there, you certainly have the ability to do that just by move to amend to strike any of the particular sections or any particular words or numbers you want to, and then there would be votes on those motions to amend, and then in the end, you end up with, I guess you could say, sort of a cobbled together resolution of what you intend it to be when you're all done. So that, I mean, procedurally, that's kind of how you would go about doing it.
So, the motion.
Well, I think we need to leave in, the full-time elected officials shall be eligible to participate in the City of Bella Vista employee health plans at the same rate as full-time employees, subject to the terms of the plan and state and federal law. I think that should be, that should remain in there.
Mayor, if I might say so, there was a considerable amount of discussion about the city clerk's salary, about changing that to be more attractive to a part-time individual. There was some considerable amount of discussion about the other salaries, the city attorney's salary, for instance, as to why we're actually proposing an increase in it. As I said, Mr. Rooney at the work session proposed that it should be just redone completely. So that was the purpose of me making a motion tonight, that it just be tabled until further discussion, tabled indefinitely to further discussion. I agree with you 100% that these things need to be done, but based on the number of amendments that were suggested at the work session that would possibly be made to the ordinance, it would appear to be totally changing it and altogether anyway, so why not just table it, go back and redo it?
Mayor, I need to be a parliamentarian for just a second. Alderman Snow, I believe, has moved to table the resolution indefinitely.
No, there's been no motion on the floor.
I think he just said
Yeah,
that,
he did.
just now.
Was there a second?
That,
He
Is
didn't
that-
say that. He did not say that he was going to make the motion. He said that's what he was talking about doing, just like he
I thought
talked
you said
about it
he did.
earlier.
that was my intent. I said that was my
Well, I
intent.
apologize. Are you,
That was
There's
my,
no
No
motion
motion on the floor right now.
that was my intent to make that motion.
Okay, and my understanding is, I understand that. My question is, who else is going to discuss it that's not around this table, and why can't we discuss it tonight and get it done?
None,
We've been discussing it since February.
none whatsoever but if all the proposed amendments are going to be made to it that were indicated would be made to it, it's going to be changed entirely anyway,
That's fine, let's change it.
okay?
If that's what it takes, let's do it. Like I say, we've been talking this to death since February, and we don't seem to be any closer based on what I heard about last Monday night. We're now down to, I think, crunch time, and we need to make some decisions. So let's start with the very first part, if that's the way we want to go about it. So the very first part is section 1, and we're talking about salaries for mayor.
Mayor,
Is there a lot of discussion on that one?
Mr. Wozniak.
Jim?
No, there wasn't. I was going to make a motion reference to ones that got the most beating up and throw that out there and see what happens.
Okay, how about aldermen? Were we talking about that one, changing that one drastically, or changing that one at all?
Nope.
I'm only talking about section 1 now. No comments, discussion, questions about that one? To any great extent. City clerk, Jim.
I recommend it goes to $12,000.
Is that a motion to amend it to?
Yes, I would make a motion that city clerk goes to $12,000, some kind of ways that would attract a little bit better part-time person than 4,200 would. If you want to attract decent people who have qualifications or the ambition to do the job, I think you need to put something out there to get those kind of folks interested. So my theory there being make it $12,000 annually. It's still a part-time wage, part-time salary, so that's all they're basically entitled to is that. But there's, more to it than we think. There's meetings they have to attend in other places. I think $1,000 a month is probably pretty fair. Still a little low, but I think we're better off there than we are at 4,200.
Have a second to that motion? Moving on to city attorney. Comments, questions, discussion concerning city attorney?
I don't see that it needs to be raised at all. We have not currently had a city attorney as such. We now have Jason on board as.
So your
city council.
recommendation is,
That it stayed as leave it at this previous amount,
which was
um,
3,600?
3,600, I believe. Is
So your recommendation is to amend the city attorney salary to $3,600 annually. Is that what I understand?
That would, I think it's more than 36.
44.
Might have been 46. Larry's not here.
Know what it is.
I don't either. Can you pull it up on your funny machine there?
I will try. Well, we could, Mayor, we can do this, we could say, the annual salary compensation beginning January 1, 2015 for elected officials shall be set at, when we get down to city attorney, shall be the same
As currently established.
as established on the date of the enactment of this resolution.
Okay. Is that acceptable for your
That works,
recommendation?
yeah. I just don't see any reason to raise it.
Do I have a second to that recommendation?
I'll second that.
Been moved and seconded that we amend that so that the city attorney salary will stay as it currently is, with no change. Any further discussion on that recommendation? That's a recommended change to section 1. Last line in section 1. Everybody understands that recommendation? Comments, questions, discussion? Roll call vote on the recommendation to amend section 1 of this proposed resolution to indicate that the city attorney's salary will stay as is currently. Everybody understands that recommendation, what we're voting on? Roll call vote.
Alderman Rooney?
Yes.
Alderman King?
Yes.
Alderman Morgan?
No.
Alderman Snow?
Yes.
Alderman Wozniak?
Yes.
Motion carries 4-1.
Okay, so that one, section 1, I think we're through with, hopefully. Section 2, you can read that as well as I can. Any comments, questions, discussion concerning that? Basically, what that does is allow full-time elected officials to participate in the employee health plan at the same rate as full-time employees.
Mayor, before we skip or move on from section 1.
Yeah.
I would still like to offer my amendment that all the salaries just to remain at the current level.
Okay? Is that a motion?
Yes.
So you would like to amend this resolution so that all salaries remain at current level?
Yes, sir.
Do I have a second to that motion?
Pending some more discussion, I'll second that.
Been moved and seconded that all salaries be retained at current level. Discussion concerning that recommendation.
Yes, so I don't feel that we should leave the mayor's salary at the current level. He acts as a city manager. If we hired a city manager, it costs us well over $100,000 a year. And if we're going to draw people to ability and education experience to do this, $73,000 certainly is a good deal. And for that, I wouldn't mind leaving the rest of them as they are, but not the mayor. I don't believe that we can do that and expect to hire competent people or get people to file for office.
If I may, I agree with you, Mr. Rooney. I agree with you 100%. But we have two candidates announced for mayor already. I don't know if there's others out there waiting to announce or not. But if that salary is not sufficient for whoever the elected person might be, that can always be changed later.
Nothing against the current ones that are planning on running. Maybe we could attract some more qualified ones by doing that. We will not unless we offer a decent salary and benefits to go with it.
Other comments, questions, discussion concerning the motion on the floor, which is to leave salaries for the 4 elected officials as is? Alan?
We currently can leave them like they are, and then we can raise them whenever we want to, but for right now, until we can get this squared away.
Remember, filing time is very near.
Filing time, yes, but you can file anytime up until when.
Well, what are you going to use to base it to raise it? What do you use for a basis?
I'm
Once
not
you
sure
get into
what
that,
Larry-
you're going to have to
I'm not
look at
sure
that
what
every
Larry
time.
used. Yeah, I guess, from what I understand, Larry went around and looked at the different salaries in different comparable sized cities here in northwest Arkansas, is that correct?
He
That's what he
checked,
told us.
he checked a number of cities of comparable size throughout the state. Plus, he got information from the National League of Cities, but I don't know.
I'm not saying we're going to leave it as it is right now for good and ever. I'm saying that for the time being, for tonight, let's just let it sit until we can re-ramp this
Well,
thing.
I'm not going to vote on it because
What's
I'm
the
one of those
purpose?
involved,
What's
but
the-
I can't see waiting.
I guess that's the question I have. What's the purpose of waiting? What are we afraid of making a decision tonight? We're going to know more next week? What more are you going to know?
I'm just
I
saying.
guess I don't understand what we're
You
waiting
can't
for.
raise it. You can't lower it once they're in office, but you can always raise it after someone's in office. That's the problem.
So you're going to do it based on the person, is that what I understand? Not the job?
Not what I said.
Well, why other would it make a difference who's in the office?
It doesn't.
Then I rest my case. What am I waiting for?
Until we can present a comprehensive comprehensive resolution for all these things, I think
Well,
we
that's
better
what we're
sit-
trying to do right now.
All right.
You got to go through the process to get that done.
Then okay.
I thought we would have done that Monday
Any
night.
suggestions of where we can set the salary if we're not going to leave it at 73.6, or is there something?
You're the ones who suggested changing it, so it's your number.
I think
We have a motion on the floor right now to leave them as they are now. That's the motion that we have on the floor right now. To amend this resolution to leave them where they're at now.
The point is, they don't have to be changed right now. There's nothing that says they have to be changed.
I think that sends a very incomplete message to anybody that might want to run for that office.
Amen. And I've said that since February. Any further discussion on that motion that's on the floor? Roll call vote.
Alderman King.
Yes.
Alderman Morgan.
No.
Alderman Snow.
Yes.
Alderman Wozniak.
Yes.
Alderman
Well, am I voting wrong? I thought we were voting to,
to leave them as is.
oh, no, sorry. I thought we were up to leave them alone.
No.
Motion fails 2-3.
Mayor can,
Mayor can only vote to pass it, so your vote's not required, it fails.
but I can vote to pass it. So if I vote no, it passes.
No,
It
sir.
does not pass.
No, sir, that would, if you voted
It
theoretically.
fails already.
Yes, sir.
Gotcha.
2-3.
Okay. So we're now left with the change we made to city attorney in section 1. Any other comments on section 1? Section,
Now, wait a minute, what did we do to this?
we're left with mayor at 73.6, alderman 5,640, city clerk at 4,200, and city attorney at the current rate, which we don't know exactly what it is, but, okay? Everybody understand section 1 now? Section 2. Section 2 deals with medical insurance for full-time elected officials. The only individual we'll be talking about would be the mayor.
I think it's important for us to include that in this resolution.
I agree.
Comments, questions about section 2? Suggested changes? Any comments? Further discussion? Hearing none, we'll move on to section 3. Elected officials should be offered the opportunity to participate in the 457 deferred compensation plan with the city to match their contribution on the same basis as non-elected city employees to the extent permitted by terms of the plan and state and federal law.
Question.
Yes,
Currently, part-time people are not eligible, correct?
part-time people are not eligible.
Okay, so the only one this would affect would be the mayor.
No, the way this reads, it would
Okay, I got you.
affect
All right,
elected
I got you,
officials.
I got you, all right.
I think to the
Section
extent
3
permitted by the plan.
Yes.
If the plan doesn't allow it, then the elected officials couldn't participate. If the plan allowed it, then they could participate.
It's my understanding the plan does allow it. So by putting this section through, we would be saying that all elected officials could participate in the 457 plan, and the city would match their contribution at the same rate as they match elected officials, which is basically up to 5%. If they put in 5% of their annual salary or annual pay, the city would put in 10%, a 2-to-1 match.
I'd like to make a motion that the words full-time elected officials be placed in their full-time words in section 3, and that would alleviate the part-time employees and the city council from taking part in that. I believe that the full-time elected officials should have the same benefits as we said before, and that is part of a benefit, and not the,
So your recommendation is that you would preface section 3 with full-time elected officials
yes.
shall be offered the opportunity to participate in the 457 deferred compensation plan, and on through the rest of it. That's your recommendation?
That's my recommendation.
Do I have a second to that recommendation?
Yes.
Been moved and seconded, we amend section 3 to include the phrase full-time in front of elected officials.
Question,
Yes.
what about city clerk?
Would not be a full-time elected position. In my mind, at the rate that we're talking about now.
That is not, it is a part-time position by
Yes.
ordinance, so that does not change. You
So
just
that does
change
not
the
change.
compensation,
So-
not the,
So the city clerk, in that city clerk position, would not be eligible. It would also make it the same as all employees within the city, which to me, if I were an elected official in the voting world, would be important. I would think you would want to do the same thing for elected officials that we do for employees. Certainly not make it better for elected officials than for our employees.
And we do not offer that to part-time employees now.
That's true.
So I
Question,
don't think we as part-time employees, as a city councilman, should be allowed to do that either.
Jerry?
good question.
what is going to be required for the city clerk's position to be a full-time position?
That would require an amendment to another ordinance that's not on the agenda tonight. All you're considering right now is compensation for that position. There's another ordinance in the books, and don't ask me to pull up the number, I don't know what it is, but it defines it as a part-time position. And that would need to be altered in some fashion.
Right now, we're on section 3, the proposed amendment to section 3 to this resolution. Proposed amendment places full-time in front of elected officials shall be offered the opportunity to participate in the 457 deferred compensation plan with the city to match their contribution on the same basis as non-elected city employees. Any other comments, questions, discussion concerning that amendment? Roll call vote on the amendment to Section 3.
Alderman Morgan.
No.
Alderman Snow.
No.
Alderman Wozniak.
Yes?
Alderman Rooney.
Yes.
Alderman King.
Yes.
It's 3-2.
Mayor, you may vote if you so desire.
Yes.
Amendment
Motion
passes.
carries 4-2.
And it's my understanding that Section 4 was left out on purpose?
Yes?
Yes.
So, we now have a resolution that reads, as we've discussed, Section 1, the mayor's salary 73,600, alderman 5640, city clerk 4,200, city attorney to be the same as it is currently, which is somewhere between 3,600 and 5,400. Section 2 reads that full-time elected officials shall be eligible to participate in the City of Bella Vista employee health plans at the same rate as full-time employees. Section 3 reads that full-time elected officials shall be offered the opportunity to participate in the 457 deferred compensation plan, the same as non-elected city employees with the same match. Any other comments, questions, discussion concerning this resolution as amended at least 3 times? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the resolution as amended.
So approved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded, we approve the resolution as amended. One last chance for discussion concerning this resolution. Roll call vote.
Alderman Snow.
No.
Alderman Wozniak.
Yes?
Alderman Rooney.
Yes.
Alderman King.
Yes.
Alderman Morgan.
No.
Mayor, do you choose to vote?
Yes.
Motion carries 4-2.
Moving on under new business, item on C. And the resolution, it's a resolution establishing a travel and training policy for elected officials of the city of Bella Vista to become effective January 1st, 2015.
Make sure they're aware of the difference.
Mayor, I think I can explain what these 2 papers are if you'd like for me to.
Please do.
Alderman Wilson emailed and said that as a result of, of course I wasn't there, but as a result of your work session, he desired that his proposal be changed and his exhibit, which is the paper that says purpose up at the top of it. It says Larry revision, I think, at the top. And he wanted the rewording on the sentence that's underlined, travel reimbursement request is to be made within 30 days after the trip is completed. So this is the resolution that is before you. The other exhibit that you have is, I believe, what the mayor may request someone to amend in the form of a substitution. This is a different proposal that the mayor may be requesting one of you to amend this to this. So that's what this is the mayor's recommendation, the other document that says elected official travel policy at the top.
Again, I'm sorry I was not at the work session. I had not seen this resolution before I left town. When I came back and looked at it, there are 2 or 3 things in there that, or 2 or 3 things not in there that I think are important. So when you look at the one that I presented, that if one of you believe it is important, I would appreciate you making the recommendation to amend it, are such things as use of city vehicle if it's available, use of carpooling to the extent that makes some kind of sense, rather than paying individuals, 9 of us, to drive down to Little Rock. Does not make a lot of sense for taxpayers' money in my mind. And also the use of a vehicle because you're transporting your own family for whatever reasons, either because you're going on vacation in the future from where you're being paid to go, or just because you don't want to ride with anybody else and you want to ride with your wife or your son or somebody, I think it's important that we use carpooling. So those kind of words are in the one that I presented. They're not in the one that came through that you discussed on Monday. So having presented what my thoughts are, you can do what it is you please or want to do. But from a taxpayer standpoint, I really do believe we need to pay a little attention to travel and what it costs us and what we should be doing with taxpayers' funds. Jimmy?
I make a motion that we, when it says municipal vehicles, use of private vehicles, we insert the mayor's proposal/recommendation opposed to what's on the ordinance.
Do I have a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded, we make the adjustment from the resolution that is part of the actual package that you received and amend the municipal officials' use of private vehicles to read as presented in the attachment that you have. It probably has my name on it somewhere up near the top. Comments, questions, discussion concerning that motion to amend the resolution?
There's a second.
Yes, down here. I think Jim made the motion and
I second it.
Rooney seconded it. So we have the motion on the floor. Comments, questions, discussion concerning that motion? Understand it? Make sense? Doesn't make sense? What do you think we want to do?
Makes sense.
Any further discussion? Questions? Roll call vote on the motion to amend the resolution?
Alderman Wozniak,
Yes.
Alderman Rooney,
Yes.
Alderman King,
Yes.
Alderman Morgan,
Yes.
Alderman Snow.
No.
Motion carries 4-1.
So we now have a resolution on the floor that, we have a resolution still on the agenda that has been amended. Comments, discussion, any questions concerning the resolution as amended?
Motion to approve.
I
Been
do
moved
have,
and-
I do have one question about it.
Okay.
In the second paragraph, it says, since the city of Bella Vista is supported in part by taxpayer dollars, I question the wording in part. I think supported by taxpayer dollars, not that it probably would make a big thing, but we are supported by taxpayer dollars. I don't think just in part. Take it out or not, I don't care, but I just say that it's,
So your motion is to take in part out of the
Yes.
purpose section of that attachment?
Yes.
Do I have a second to that motion?
Second.
Been moved and seconded, we take the phrase "in part" out of the purpose portion of the attachment to that resolution. Any further discussion on that particular motion? Roll call vote on the motion to amend the purpose part and take out "in part."
Alderman Rooney,
yes.
Alderman King,
Yes.
Alderman Morgan,
Yes.
Alderman Snow,
Yes.
Alderman Wozniak.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
We now still have the resolution on the agenda that's been amended twice.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Been moved and seconded, we approve the amended resolution. Everybody understand what the resolution now states, what it looks like? No questions, comments, discussion? Roll call vote.
Alderman King,
Yes.
Alderman Morgan,
Yes.
Alderman Snow,
No.
Alderman Wozniak,
Yes.
Alderman Rooney.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-1.
Down to the best part of the meeting, meetings and announcements. Planning Commission work session is scheduled for Wednesday, July 2nd at 4 p.m. in the Fire Department Training Room. The regular meeting of the Planning Commission is scheduled for Monday, July 14th, 6:30 PM in the Fire Department Training Room. City Council Work Session, Monday, July 21st at 5:30 PM in the City Hall Conference Room. The next regular meeting of the City Council is Monday, July 28th, 6:30 PM, right here in Highlands Crossing.
Oh, Chris?
Chris?
We have a Trails Public Input meeting.
That's right, that was the one.
6:30 to 8:30.
Repeat that again, will you? What time is that?
Louder.
6:30 to 8:30 at Reardon Hall,
On
Tuesday.
Tuesday,
Tomorrow night.
tomorrow night. I would like to remind the city council that we, as a city, and I probably put my neck on the line on that one, promised that at least the majority of our city council would attend some of these beginning meetings. So
At
this
what
would be
time?
our first attempt, or our first chance to be able to do that. So any of you that could make it tomorrow night at 6:30 PM at Reardon Hall would be appreciated. Meeting is adjourned.